Young people often don't visit dementia units because it's unfamiliar, slow and depressing. But once getting to know the people and the place and it becomes familiar, then everything else fades out and young people can become the most positive and committed visitors that there are in dementia units. There was one example where a father used to come in with his two daughters. Each had a purpose. One of the daughters brought their lovely fluffy dog, and the other daughter always made either some scones, cakes or biscuits for the residents and the staff. And this was a really good purpose because it was part of her school project, so she got ticks for that. The residents loved her because it was home baking, and the staff definitely appreciated something homemade on the horizon. So in this way, the father made the whole experience of coming to the dementia unit inclusive, and the children just accepted it as part of day to day, which is really important actually, because with health work, jobs, availability of positions in the health industry, often it's up to 1 in 5 people that work in the health industry. So if as a child or a young person you've been exposed to a dementia unit, which is a medical facility, you're at home in such a place, the routine, the establishment, the staff, the goings on, then you're much more likely to feel at ease to going into a career that's in the health industry if you've had that experience when you're young. Whereas if you haven't, it can be quite difficult for young people, then older people, to adjust to working in medical facilities. It's just something that they find very difficult to assimilate. And for those parents that aren't inclusive in this, who bring their children once a year if you're lucky, because the kids aren't integrated, what happens is they come into the unit, it's unfamiliar, they feel out of sorts, and they just walk through head above the clouds as if they're in a fog, completely disconnected from the unit and everything in it. Whereas those kids that come regularly with their dog or their biscuits or whatever, you know, they're smiley, they're chatty, they get on with the residents, they're loved by the residents, appreciated by staff, and of course adored by the grandmother. And it's a positive experience for them. They get love, they get feedback, they get affirmation, and they enjoy it. Many of these kids come once a week, and it's, you know, quite a treat for them to come to the unit because they see past that initial barrier of, you know, elderly old people, nothing much going on. Whereas beneath the top layer, there's plenty going on. It's very interesting. And of course, there is a lot to learn. Now, there was another young person, daughter of a father who he was a very good musician. Guitar, fabulous. He used to come in, play the guitar to his mother out on the veranda, and she was the one to get the Milos, the rugs, all rugged up on the veranda when it was wintry, and anything else that was needed in terms of setup. Comfortable chairs arranged, etc. Cushions, blankets. So she had a purpose. She was very good at organising everything, and the father let her do that while he strummed away on this fabulous guitar, which of course the mother loved, and all the music would drift in to the other residents so they could enjoy it as well. So in this way, if parents are inclusive, if they make the experience an extension of living, an extension of the family, you know, it's just another life phase, something we can all contribute to. And especially when parents come in and include their children and bring their children in when they have meals with their mother or father, that's a really good idea, because the same family did this after the music on the veranda. They'd have lunch with their mother. So it was the mother, the son and the granddaughter squashed into this little table with the mother, grandmother and three other ladies, yes. They didn't eat there, but they just had a cup of coffee and stayed for lunch. They got to know the other friends or table, you know, associates of their mother and grandmother. They were able to get the conversation going for their parent or their grandmother, because this grandmother was quiet, withdrawn, and didn't socialise much, and she was not really making friends with the other ladies. Whereas because the granddaughter was so chatty and asked everyone their names, got to know their names, referred back to her grandmother, tied it all back in, her grandmother was brought along in the conversation. And as a result of that, the other women included her more in the conversation, and she was able to make friends because of that. Whereas it probably would have been quite difficult for her to do that on her own if she wasn't buoyed up by the granddaughter's repartee. So this is the way young people can help a lot. They're much appreciated. In a dementia unit, they bring life, laughter, flavour, fun, another generation. It's good and it's healthy, a win-win for both parties. But it does take the open-minded attitude of the parents to include that in the equation of living, not to just put granny in the dementia unit and then the kids don't visit. It should be really an expectation that they do visit regularly, rather than making their grandmother invisible to them or them becoming invisible to their grandparent. If they can see them regularly, then it just becomes part of life, a normal part of life, natural part of life, where we can all live, learn and enjoy and engage and help each other. So I've written about these topics and more in the 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit, both on Amazon, ebook, ever popular, soft copy, hard copy, and also on my website in the description below, pietavalentine.com. So everything you need to know for someone coming into a dementia unit in the first book and the companion book, everything you need to know once a person is already in a dementia unit. So they're light, you can carry them in your handbag, use them as a diary, good reading, essential reading really, for everything you need to know for a family member coming into a dementia unit. Whilst the videos are great, of course, it's a lot to get through, whereas if you have the books, all the materials there in one place, so you won't be missing out on anything. So thank you for your looks and your likes and support. Please pass on these links and please subscribe. Thanks a lot.